So to provide a little bit of a change from the dark backdrop in the previous video, what we have here is a light backdrop in this video. So this is chapter 8. Again, this is page 148. A couple of things, and again, this does a really fantastic job of taking us, I've always felt, taking us step by step through how we would use the tangible equipment even if we don't have the equipment. So you can see here, camera is directly in front of our subject. The lamp is on top of the camera. So what that is doing is it is crushing out all of the shadows that we would have. We still have the shadow underneath Lizard Boy, I will affectionately call him, and his neck there. You can see there's not a lot of shadow happening on the smile mark, and we get a little bit of shadow under the nose to the costume. That's certainly one way to light this. As we continue down, what you'll see is now we have a light source that is moved, like in the previous example, 45-ish degrees off center. But you'll notice it is aimed, roughly speaking, in the direction of the subject. And I say roughly speaking because you can see that based on how the shadow is coming down on the subject's face, it's a little higher than Lizard Boy is. And what it's doing is that just by nature of being a little higher and indirect, we're showing those shadows coming down across the subject's face. This works pretty well. You can also see there's that very deep shadow underneath the chin line there, showing us some separation between the costume and the wearer. So certainly this is another way to do that. It is providing more data to the viewer in the way of shadow. You'll also notice we've got that white background, which is lightening the overall interpretation of the photo here. We'll see how that's important in just a moment. Here, we've got the exact same angle with our light source, but this time around what we have done, instead of taking an indirect, so a roughly, so everything faces the same way, but the subject is offset. This time what we're doing is we are offsetting the light, but we are aiming it directly at the subject. So what do you notice here? Those shadows are nowhere near as long. We again have illumination underneath that chin line. We are getting a different color for the head of the lizard costume and the body of the lizard costume, and this is happening because of the angle of the light. The other thing you'll notice here is you can see the shadow of Lizard Boy on the backdrop. In our previous image, there is no shadow of Lizard Boy on the backdrop. In the initial image, the shadow would essentially be behind Lizard Boy. That's kind of why we can see it in the upper portion of the image there, but not towards the middle around the neckline. So the direction of your light has a direct impact on shadows and the overall information that the user, I keep saying user, it's a web course, guys. I always default to user instead of viewer. Then here you can see that shadow gives a different set of informations to the viewer. And finally here, and this is page 149, finally here, what we're doing is we're diffusing that light. You'll notice that. So the light source is still placed where it was in the previous two examples. But this time what we're doing is we're bouncing the light off of the wall to the left of Lizard Boy. What do you see that this does? Number one, it creates a softer shadow behind Lizard Boy because we're diffusing that light more out. We have soft shadows on the right side of Lizard Boy. We have a hard shadow on the left, and we're getting more shadow and more detail in the costume as a result of the diffused light. I know I did a very similar explanation in a previous video, but the direction of light really does have an impact here in my dungeon office. I have studio lights over here and over here. Both of them are out of reach. But if I turn the one and have it facing into my eyeball, you can see that this is producing shadows in a different way than the diffused light. I have more direct lighting happening here on the right-hand side. And what that's doing is causing shadows to happen over on the left. This would be perfectly okay. You actually do see, like if we were talking just video, a ton of YouTube creators do it this way, that the idea that the shadow creates depth works here. I will also tell you, if you are going to stare into a camera and stare into lights for 5 or 6 or 7 hours a day and then do the editing, it really gets to create a bunch of eye strain. So instead of having that direct light, so this is offset, I would say, by just over 45 degrees, probably at 55 degrees, and it is aiming in the direction of my face, but the direct light would be hitting right here. You can see it's white on my palm. So if I, again, change the directionality of the light, it produces more fill light. It mellows out those shadows. It softens the tone. It changes how the image is going to be viewed by the user. So again, it's really fantastic here in Chapter 8 of the DCP textbook to look through how to use your flash. And again, I understand if we are using as our default photography equipment a phone, that's fine. Phones, again, are really great, powerful pieces of photography equipment. The flash is not great. In that case, any light source will do. Like I said the last video, I actually really truly do. I travel with this in my camera bag. So when we are, taking pictures at a birthday party, I am the dork that sits here with the camera on a tripod stick with the light over here. You can take this, go up and to the right, with the light over here so that we have a light source. But it does make an impact, a tremendous and positive impact on the overall depth of the information that the viewer is going to get from your images.